Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Travelers, Season 1, Episode 2. It's called Protocol 6. Full spoilers for the episode as always. Now, it's kind of interesting, because I think in the first review we spoke about how, we were expecting a network-looking show, and we got something like more like a Netflix show. And I feel like I felt more of the network style creeping in here, but not through the visuals. I think it's this weird combination of things where the plot per episode, at least from this episode, I feel like feels a bit more networky, and I don't even mean that in a negative way, just in the way that they had like here's the problem that we have to deal with this episode, and by the end of the episode we'll deal with it. You know, it feels more fragmented like a network TV show is, but it still looks like a Netflix show. It still looks like, you know, there was some great moments in some of the scenes where it was focusing on Marcy's eye, like during a conversation scene,
and it was like really off at the bottom of the screen, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, it was just these little sort of touches of camera work that were adding to the emotion of the scene, and I think the music's doing a good job of that as well. The music's really giving it a different sort of flavour throughout the whole thing as to what it could have been. You know, it could have been. I feel like there's a sort of importance to it that it feels. Whereas, you know, instead of going for the straight, this is like 24 with the countdowns and, you know, tension, you know, there's a bomb going to go off, which in this episode...
It plays the mystery instead.
Yeah, it plays the mystery, the intrigue, over the actual, like, straight action, which is still happening underneath, but it doesn't play that in the music, it plays everything else, which I like. It kind of, it balances it out in a weird way.
Yeah, it sets it apart a little bit as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, the plot of this one is basically after they've all met up for the first time, and their first mission is to stop this bomb, this really big explosion. I think it was megatons that they were saying that was going to go off.
Yeah.
And it's antimatter, you know, an antimatter bomb, and they track it. And this, again, plays with the idea that the clock comes in saying time till explosion, and this is the thing they're going to, like, change and prevent. And they mentioned that by stopping it, they saved, like, 22,000 lives, because the explosion was going to be that big. It was going to be this big a deal, yeah. I liked a lot of the stuff that came out of this. Mainly, I like that they've got a base now, because they have the bomb afterwards, and they're trying to get rid of it, but their containment device is like failing. It needs more juice to keep it from detonating, basically.
Yeah, because it's unstable, essentially, is what will cause it to detonate.
Yeah, and just a little bit of mythology building. Well, I say mythology and just general premise building that came out of this in terms of the conversations is they're talking about, oh wait, what do we do now? Our plan's not working. We can't do what we're supposed to do because the contact that we're meant to get came back to a body that was actually dying of a second cause that they didn't predict. You know, he'd taken pills as well as shooting himself. So the fact that they stopped him from shooting himself meant he still died.
Yeah, but then they talk about the director and overseeing things, and you kind of get the idea that they're like this one cell of an organization, and there is someone overseeing all this, and
of course, because it's the characters we're following, I'm assuming their plot will end up being the most important in terms of all the cells.
It's typically the way it goes.
The line I really loved though that came out of all this is they're talking about what to do, like, oh, what should we do? Like, there should be someone sent to us to give us a message, or another cell to contact us. Like, you know, the director would send a message somehow from the future because they know it didn't work. You know, they'd know something was up. And Marcy says, or it means that we think of another way of doing something in the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
Because it's already past tense. Yeah, I really like that line. It's like, well, no, the reason why we're not getting a message is because we figure it out in this time frame, because we have to. Otherwise, we would have a message by now.
Yeah, and it really changes what my perspective of their rules of time travel are as well, because obviously last episode we were speculating the heart attack, did it always happen? But this would imply that things must always happen in the future, like, because obviously they're there, so whatever they do now is always going to happen.
It affects the future. Yeah, it affects whatever, like, yeah. So had the bomb went off and they'd all died, the director in the future would know about this. So he would send a message for them so that this would stop them from happening. So because they don't get the message, they know they have to figure it out some way, and it ends up being a case of them. It's like a little kind of invert heist where they have to break into the place where it came from, where Dr. Delaney has invented it, because we meet her, we meet the soldier Gleason, who was trying to take it for military use, and they have to put it back in the containment cell that it was taken from, because that's the only place that it can go where it'll be safe.
Yeah, but I like the idea that it means that anything that they do now that they're back here is already kind of predetermined to a point from the director's point of view.
Well, no, It isn't because it only becomes predetermined once they do it.
Well, yeah, but he already knows that they're going to do it, so.
But it
It's one of those
doesn't. It'll
things.
change.
But he doesn't send a message because he knows that they're going to sort it out.
Also, it could be she.
Because they already.
We don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that's
Director
true.
could be anyone.
But they know that the group has already solved the problem. So even though we haven't seen them solve the problem, they must solve the problem. So it's predetermined in that sense. Because they are there, they do solve it.
It's not predetermined. I would argue it's not predetermined so much. Well, it is, but it's different to me because they still have to do it. Like it's not. But there had to be a time when it happened because
Yeah,
they just figured it out.
Before they were sent back,
Yeah.
it happened. But as soon as they were sent back, it didn't happen. Because they do figure it out, and the director knows that they do figure it out, so it must have already not happened.
The question is, though, if things are constantly changing in the future based on what's happening in the present, how does the director even know? Like,
Something's
sure,
changed.
yeah, how, yeah, they must have a way in the future of tracking when there's a change.
Yeah, they must do.
They must do, and obviously they have the technology to send people back in time. So I'm assuming they have more fancy technology from the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, we learned a lot more about some of the characters as well. Obviously, McLaren had a wife, so now Ard McLaren now has to like keep up appearances and and there's one small tidbit where he's surprised that they've got cow's milk. Like that must not be a common thing to have in the future.
Well, to be fair, most of the human race is extinct. We know that. So
Yeah, but cows are durable.
cows may have gone as well.
They're durable.
Yeah, they are, but we probably ate them all.
Cows will outlive us all. I'm full belief of it.
I mean, they might, but I'm not sure they'll outlive my stomach.
Other things, he actually has a relationship with Carly, which
Yes.
was weird because they kind of hinted that the boyfriend was jealous of this, and we thought, oh, this is ridiculous. But it seems that they had a relationship in the future, so now they're in different bodies, so they have a relationship again, and they kiss, but now he has a wife that he kind of has to keep up appearances with, so it sets up this dynamic, which I'd almost be annoyed there's a kind of a love triangle thing developing, but it's not a typical love triangle, like...
You kind of can't be mad because they're different people, but they
Yeah.
have to fit in at the same time. So it is a love triangle, but it's not.
It isn't, and well, I can see him maybe getting feelings for his wife, because she seems like a nice enough person so far.
Yeah.
I can't be mad because at least it's playing in a different way because it is science fiction and because we have these different weird
It
rules.
almost feels like, yeah, look, we are somewhat of a network show. We'll play into the tropes and have the love triangle. But Netflix will give us this twist on it. It's kind of like this meeting of
Kinda.
worlds again that we've been
Kinda.
talking about.
We spoke in the last episode about how they all probably had their own like job roles, like their specific things, and we find out that Marcy is a doctor. She even tries to like diagnose herself, and she's like, "No, we're not going to the hospital because they'll just say this because this looks like this. They'll make me go for an MRI." She understands what's going to happen, and she does eventually concede at the end of the episode to David and says, "Look, I'm going to go to the hospital." Because she realizes that she still needs the treatment. She still needs to go through the process to try and like prolong the body's chance
Lifespan,
of
yeah.
so she can actually do the work she's meant to do. Of course, she also drops that hint to David about the plane crash that's going to happen later on that day. So that he's now like, she's not told him that she's from the future, but he's now like, what's going
We're
on?
starting to piece it together, maybe.
Maybe like if you could like even if someone said this to you, would your mind jump to time travel?
Honestly, possibly.
Okay, we're different, we're nerds, but a normal person, a social worker.
I mean, but think about it. How else can you narrow it down? How many realistic possibilities of what it could be are there? Would you not consider like? I mean, once you rule out the improbable, the impossible, all that's left is improbable. So it's like, well, it's unlikely, but it's more likely than it's just as likely as them guessing such a specific thing in advance, unless like he speculates that she had something to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's the first place she'd go to, is that she has some knowledge, because if she is working with the FBI like she's claiming she is, then she maybe has like, info on things, and that's why...
Well, yeah, but that only lasts up to a point.
Yeah, it wouldn't explain how she knows the exact number of casualties, unless that's all that's on the plane.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like it is, does it?
Nah. What I like about all that stuff though is I like their banter. Like, you know, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the hospital tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, do you want me to take you, or are you going to drop in from a helicopter?" You know, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
these little things, and you know, he hears on the phone call that, you know, Philip's in cardiac arrest, and she's giving him CPR, and he's like hearing these little things, and so I think the plot in this one was very simple. It was, we've got this bomb, it's going to go off, we have to fix it. A couple of character beats here or there. Carly's not happy that her body's not as fit as she presumably was in the future, so she's trying to work out. And Trevor's struggling to keep up appearances as a teenager because, you know, he's got more important things to do than pretend.
Yeah, he's clearly like the science almost to a degree.
Yeah, he's maybe the engineer.
He knows all about the antimatter and stuff, you know, like the bomb, doesn't he? Like, he's the one keeping track of that. So it feels like he's in charge of that side of things. And it's got to be weird him having to be in a school because he's going to be so much smarter than everyone else there.
Yeah, presumably, yeah. And obviously we talk about Philip, and he confirms that he sort of memorized everything from this time period, from whatever the window he's memorized from. Yeah. And I'll take that to mean he's maybe the almost a historian to an extent, on top of whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. So we're learning a little bit more about all these things going on, a bit more about the mythology, a bit more how the time travel rules work in terms of, and obviously there's the message from the little girl at the end. They can beam a message through a living person from the future. You know, and he's told, no, you went and talked to another cell. You're not meant to do that.
Yeah.
You know, shame on you. You shouldn't have done that. And that's kind of that.
Yeah, no, I think, like I say, plot-wise, it was quite simple, but it did an important thing of setting up the group, because we got the individuals last episode, but this set up the group dynamic and how they play off each other.
It sets up the superhero double life thing that we're going to get now, where they've got their everyday lives that they're going to have to put up with and keep up appearances, but then they're going to have this base where they come back to and try and do the mission. And I feel like, you know, and this one kind of did this as well, where maybe in terms of the everyday lives, it only really focuses on one or two of them in one episode, so that we're not getting four we might get like one scene of some of the other ones, but we can ignore the everyday life of Carly for an episode whilst we focus on Trevor and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but I still liked it.
I did too. I think it's still pretty good. I'm down for more stuff.
Like I say, I think it's in this weird place in between a network show and a Netflix show, where I can see like influences from both sides, like kind of creeping in. But I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I like some network shows, and I feel like this feels like a super slick network show.
This thing, it feels like a network show writing sensibilities with the production values of a Netflix show.
Yeah, for the most part.
Which, you know, I'm kind of down for the most part. Yeah.
So there you go. That's Travellers episode 2. Of course, this is the only review we've got up going this today, because it is Christmas Eve, by the way. So Merry Christmas, actually. You know, hope you have a nice Christmas Eve. We may get one up tomorrow on Christmas Day, which, by the way, we are troopers for doing that, if we do. It'll be Monday when we start maybe rolling through them a little bit quicker, where we're getting 2 or 3 up per day kind of thing, you know, maybe even quicker if we have time. But, so bear with us, because it is the holidays. But, you know, that's episode 2. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. We got some comments in the first episode of people who have seen up to like episode 9 or whatever that's aired, and they were saying they quite enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to the rest of it, which is pretty cool.
That's good.
So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz. Like and subscribe. Helps us out a lot if you do. We'll see you next time.